I've got a bunch of new riddles for you, oh great detective. Concentrate and crack them all like nuts. Look at this picture very attentively. One of these people attacked the artist, but can you figure out who it was? The artist started writing the letter K and then another letter, but he didn't have time to finish it. It seems to be an I, so the culprit could be Kitty. But at the same time, it also looks as if the artist simply didn't have time to finish the letter L, which is another letter that can be confused with I. So, if the injured man tried to write the lower part of the letter L but didn't have enough time to finish it, it could easily be Claude, who attacked him. What do you think? Was it Claude or Kitty? Write your answer in the comments. These people seem to be rather strange, but only one of them is a real vampire. Who is it? All of them are drinking something red, but it might be just some pomegranate juice. The girl on the left has a blood red streak next to her mouth, but it might just be smudged lipstick. The man has weird teeth, but they could be artificial. As for the woman on the right, she must be the vampire. Have you noticed that she doesn't have a reflection in the mirror? This couple is about to get married. What a happy event. But not everything is rainbows and butterflies here. One of the people in the picture is actually an alien. Have you spotted this guest from another planet? It's the bride herself. Look, she's got 3 arms. Continuing with the topic of extraterrestrial visitors, you need to find an alien among these athletes. Can you spot anything unusual about them? The guy on the left must be an alien. He's got 2 left hands. Yikes. Creepy. Now this guy seems to be lost and confused. There are 2 doors in front of him, and both ladies seem friendly. But one of the doors isn't safe to enter. Which one is it? It's the door on the left. This glamorous lady is offering the guy a ride, but do you see that strange decor in her apartment? Especially the skull? At the same time, the second woman looks quite disheveled. But despite her messy appearance, offering food might just be a kind gesture. In any case, a ride with a stranger holds more risk than a simple hamburger. Look at these bathrooms very attentively. Your task is to figure out which of them belongs to a zombie. Well, both bathrooms look kinda disgusting, but a real zombie leaves on the left. Do you see that glass standing on the sink in the left room? The zombie keeps his fingers there. Ugh. We've got 3 Miss School contestants here. They look pretty and all, but one of them is actually dangerous. Which one is it? It's the girl in the pink dress. There's blood on her crown. Another day, another monster. Look at these people attentively and try to figure out which of them is a werewolf. The man on the left is just wearing a mask. It's quite obvious. The lady in the middle might have had some kind of an accident, hence the bizarre blue spots on her body. But the man on the right is literally covered with fur, which he is trying to hide with his clothes, but his true nature can still be spotted. A crazy scientist captured Mark and locked him in his lab to use the guy for his experiments. Luckily, the guy managed to get out of the lab, taking along 3 pills. Each of them worked for 10 seconds. The green pill could provide him with regeneration abilities. The red pill could allow him to become invisible. And the blue pill provided him with the ability to fly. To get out of there, Mark had to pass through 3 rooms. One was guarded by a vampire, the second one was protected by a werewolf, and the third one hosted a maniac with a chainsaw. Which pill should Mark take to pass through each room? Mark needs to take the invisibility pill to get past the vampire, the pill enabling him to fly to get past the werewolf, and the regeneration pill to escape the chainsaw. Simon was stuck at a gas station 50 miles away from the city. His car was broken and could be repaired only by the end of the day. Luckily, there were 3 drivers who were ready to offer him a ride to the city. Look at these people and try to understand which car is safe. The driver in the red car is actually a criminal. The police have been looking for the vehicle he's driving. It must have been stolen. The man in the yellow car must be a criminal too, since he is depicted on the wanted poster on the wall. Only that granny in the blue car is safe to ride with. Maria Walker, a rich businesswoman, collected ancient pieces of art. One day, she managed to buy a priceless Chinese figurine. Maria locked it in a safe in her office and went home. But the next morning, the figurine was gone. Police have 3 suspects, all of them Miss Walker's subordinates. The detective asked each of them if they'd taken the figurine from the safe. Beverly said she hadn't been to the office since Monday. Ralph said that he didn't even know how to open safes and wasn't interested in Chinese art. And Vincent admitted that he'd been to Miss Walker's office after her departure, but he only took some documents he needed. Have you understood who the thief was? It was Ralph. Otherwise, how would he know the figurine was Chinese? Mary was a college teacher. It was the beginning of a new school year and 3 new students joined the class. When Mary saw them, she immediately realized something was off about one of them. What did she notice? The guy in the middle doesn't have a shadow. Logan worked as a security officer on a small cruise ship. One day, during a severe storm, he found Mr. Lewis lying on the deck. When the man came to his senses, he said someone had hit him on the head and had taken his wallet. Logan had 3 suspects. He visited them in their cabins. Linda told him she was feeling queasy because of seasickness. She couldn't even get up from her bed. Denise said she'd been watching a movie on her smartphone. And Philip said he'd been writing a letter to his wife. Logan immediately understood who had hit Mr. Lewis. Do you know? It was Philip. Look at his letter. The handwriting is immaculate. But it's impossible to write so accurately during a storm. Look at these elderly ladies. Both of them have gone out for a walk. At first glance, they seem totally normal. But one of them is actually planning something bad. Can you figure out which granny it is? It's the granny on the right. She's got a file hidden in her knitting basket. Look at this explorer. He seems to be in a tough situation. There are 4 tunnels in front of him. The first one seems to be freezing cold, with some perilous-looking icicles hanging over the entrance. The second tunnel looks outright creepy. A giant shark is in the third tunnel. and the fourth pass is covered with molten lava. Where should our explorer go? He should opt for the first tunnel. Have you noticed a rather well-trodden track there? So this way can't be too dangerous. Kenneth was hungry. He found a nice diner that served burgers and bought one. After a waiter brought him his order, Kenneth went to the bathroom to wash his hands. But when he came back, his burger was gone. The guy looked around the diner and understood who had taken his lunch. Can you figure it out? It's this young woman. A dog is sitting at her feet and sniffing the air. If she was just drinking coffee, which is what she's pretending to do, the dog wouldn't be so interested in her.
So, our guy James here had passed all the first stages of the entrance exam for the Superhero Training Academy. For the final stage, the committee was going to test if he was able to determine who to save first in urgent situations. So they showed him a few images and wanted him to decide who was really in danger. Can you help him out? Here are the first two. In the second image, the train is not moving and the lights are not on. That means the man can cross without any danger. As for the woman taking a bath and trying to dry her hair, well, it's not wise to use electrical stuff in the bathtub, so James should save her first. Now take a look at this footage of two people falling from a cliff. Can you help James detect who is in real danger here? The guy holding the umbrella might appear to be falling faster than the guy holding the plastic bag. However, he's going to fall right into the water, whereas there is a sharp rock right below the plastic bag guy. So, in a situation like this, James should save him first. The last image was going to determine whether James would be accepted or not. Who should be saved first? The lady absorbed in her phone in the second image is safe, because even though the traffic looks busy, the lights show a clear walk signal and cars are stopped. But the man in the first image has left a metal spoon in the microwave that he's about to turn on. That's a big no-no. James finally got accepted into Superhero Training Academy. But there, he was not going to use his real name. He needed to pick a superhero name for himself. Can you guess what his name is? These emojis might help. His superhero name is Thunderbolt Titan. Ooh. It was time to graduate. At the ceremony, the headmaster of the academy wanted to reward Thunderbolt Titan for finishing first in his class. He presented him with a mysterious chest containing a puzzle. Inside awaited a new suit, a cloak, and a high-tech gadget, but only if Thunderbolt Titan could crack the code. Can you help him solve the puzzle and claim his rewards? Look at the number sequence. What comes next? The correct answer is 7238. You just have to move the last number to the front. One day when Thunderbolt Titan was at home, somebody slid a note under his door. But it was encrypted with a strange number sequence. And below the numbers, there was a hint. Think about your device. Can you help decode the mysterious message? To decode this number sequence, we use a mobile phone keypad, as the hint suggests, where each number pair represents a letter. The first digit indicates the keypad number, and the second digit selects the letter's position on that key. For instance, 42 translates to H because 4 corresponds to the GHI button, and pressing on it 2 times will give you H. Following this method, the fully decoded message is "Help now." A villain from the multiverse had brought all kinds of creatures to planet Earth, and the Protectors League needed Thunderbolt Titan's help to find and capture them before they unleashed chaos. The first monster they were searching for was a zombie, and the Protectors League had 3 suspects. Take a look at them and help Thunderbolt Titan successfully complete his first mission. The first person looks all dirty, but she was probably working in the garden. The second lady's grocery bag is leaking juice, not blood. So the third person must be the zombie, because the living don't wear hospital tags on their ankles. The second creature the Protectors League was searching for was an extraterrestrial being. Take a look at their 2 suspects. Who is the one hiding from the League? Look at Gary M's hospital patient chart. It says his fever is 24.5 degrees Celsius. A human can't have such a low body temperature. He must be the creature. Lastly, the League suspected that a robot was pretending to be a human at a college campus. They spotted 3 students who were acting suspiciously. Can you help Thunderbolt Titan figure out who the robot is? You might think it's obvious that the third student is a robot, but he only has a super realistic-looking robot tattoo on his arm. The first student has a blinking red light inside his shirt's pocket, but that's just a camera. On the other hand, the second student has a USB port on one of her fingers. She must be the robot. To the Protectors League's surprise, there was a 4th monster who had escaped their attention. And at the headquarters, they got an emergency alarm that it was creating mayhem at the amusement park. Thunderbolt Titan immediately rushed there. Upon arrival, he found that the creature's actions had led to a malfunction on the roller coaster ride, causing 3 passengers to be stranded dangerously. Which one should Thunderbolt Titan save first? The second guy will fall first, because he's only holding on with one hand, which is actually pretty difficult to do for an extended period of time. Therefore, Thunderbolt Titan should first save him. Thunderbolt Titan had successfully completed his first 2 missions. However, the villain was not happy that he ruined his evil plans. So he captured him and locked him in a room with no exits. There was only a note that said, "Answer this riddle and you might escape." What can fill a room but takes up no space? The answer is light. Even though Thunderbolt Titan answered the riddle correctly, nothing happened. The villain had tricked him. He had to do something, so he used his superpowers to open 3 portals for himself. However, he didn't have great control over his magical portal power yet. So, all the portals led to tricky places. The first one opened to a jungle full of all kinds of wild animals. The second one opened into the middle of a desert planet, and the third one opened to the edge of a steep, rocky hill. Which one should he choose? Remember the roller coaster mission? Thunderbolt Titan can fly, so he can choose the third portal and fly to safety from the steep hill. One night, Thunderbolt Titan was patrolling the city when he received a distress call. A woman had been attacked by a purse snatcher, and during the struggle, she fell and hit her head. She was now in the hospital room without her bag and her memory. The police officer informed Thunderbolt Titan that there were 3 men outside her door, all claiming to be her husband. Can you help Thunderbolt Titan figure out who is telling the truth? The purse snatcher might have taken her bag, but he didn't take her necklace. Look, she has an L letter pendant. And the first guy here has a neck tattoo that says Liz. He must be her husband. Thunderbolt Titan got an emergency alarm call from the Antarctica Animals Research Center. One of their beloved penguins had been stolen, and they needed his help to find the thief. After using his superhero senses, he narrowed the suspects to 3. Take a look at them. Can you figure out who stole the penguin? The second lady looks like she's hiding something under her skirt, but she's just pregnant. The third guy's backpack looks bulky, but see the flight tag attached to it? That's just his carry-on. But the first guy is hiding raw fish inside his tote bag. That must be to feed the penguin, so he's the thief. During a championship race, one of the cars was suspected of being sabotaged. Thunderbolt Titan was called to the scene to help identify which one with his scanning power. Can you figure it out before him? Take a look at the rear wheel of car 2. It's slightly wobbling, even though the car is stationary. Uh-oh. Harry wakes up inside a simulated reality. An AI voice tells him that he needs to complete a series of tasks in order to get back to his normal life. 3 doors are projected in front of him. The first has a huge hammer that smashes anything that passes by it. The second door leads to a corridor filled with electric pipes. And behind the third door, there's broken glass all over the place. He has 2 seconds to choose one of the doors. Which one should he pick? He should choose the third door. Since he's wearing shoes, he'll be all right. He goes through that door and ends up in a cage. Inside, there are 3 rescue buttons. The red button will open the cage immediately, but it also simultaneously opens a cage with a hungry lion. The blue one will open the cage in 10 minutes, but it will also open hundreds of water pipes. The orange button will open the cage in 5 minutes, but it will also set the place on fire. Which of the buttons should he press? He should press the blue one. I mean, since it's a cage, it won't fill up with water. As soon as his cage opens, he is free to swim away. Then he finds himself at a crossroads. There are 3 different paths, and he needs to figure out which one to take. The first path is filled with smoking coal. The second path has frozen ice all over it. And the third path has pretty sharp nails. Which one should he choose? He should definitely choose the middle path. Even if the ice doesn't melt during daytime, it's pretty easy to go through it. It looks like Harry is doing pretty well, so the AI controlling the game decides to make the task a bit more difficult. It projects a scene where Harry is now in a hotel lobby. He has to figure out which of the lobby guys won't help him with this luggage. It's definitely the guy in the middle. If you look closely, the guy is transparent, which means he's probably a ghost. He can't touch physical stuff, so he won't be able to help Harry. Suddenly, the weekend in this virtual reality, and Harry is taken to a cabin in the mountains. There are 4 friends waiting for his arrival. They have a fun time, but at the end of the weekend, the cabin catches fire. One of his friends did it. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out who did it? It's the third guy to the right. He has a tiny gasoline bottle hanging from his belt. Harry suddenly appears in what looks like a wedding ceremony and discovers he's the one getting married. 2 women appear in front of him. They are dressed the same, but they both have their faces covered with veils. He needs to figure out who his true bride is. Can you help him out here? They look identical, but one of them already has a wedding ring. This can only mean that his true bride is the other lucky gal. For his next challenge, he's taken to a restaurant where a waitress shows him 4 glasses. Each glass is filled with the same liquid, water, and has an object inside of it. The waitress asks Harry which glass has more water than the rest. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out the correct answer? This shouldn't be too hard. The last glass is the one that has more water inside. The paperclip weighs almost nothing, while the other objects are way heavier. This means there is less water in all the other glasses. Harry's doing great thanks to you. Now look at this image. There are 3 people about to parachute out of an airplane. Help Harry figure out who is in graver danger here. It's the first 2 people. You see, there's a heavy bottle in the last guy's backpack. If it falls down, it can break the other's parachutes. Uh-oh. Harry's stomach starts to growl after so much hard work, so he asks for some food. The AI controlling the game decides to create 2 chefs to bake him 2 different cakes. But here's the catch. Only one is safe to eat. Take a look at both of these delicious-looking cakes. Which one is safe? If you have a sharp eye, you'll know that the chef on the left is a fake, so you shouldn't eat his cake. The left chef has stains all over his shirt that look like blood. Plus, he doesn't have a badge on his shirt. He has a scratch over his eye, and he's hiding a syringe in his hand behind his back. There are just too many red flags here. Harry should go for the cake on the right. Well, it's time to take a nap, and Harry is taken to an old house. There are 3 rooms for him to choose from. Take a look at the picture. Which one should he choose? Well, so you see the hidden scenarios behind the curtains in the first room? That's a big no-no. As for the third room, notice how the AC is set to cold even though it's snowing outside. No to that, so he should definitely pick the second room. To sweeten things up a bit, Harry was enrolled into a baking competition. He was introduced to 3 judges, and they each told Harry what their favorite cake was. The first judge expressed his love for chocolate pies. Judge number 2 said he loved berry pies more than anything in the world. And Judge 3 said he was fond of pecan pies, also pronounced pecan. Harry immediately knew one of them was lying. Can you tell who? was judge number 2. Do you see the chocolate stains and pie crumbles on the second judge's shirt? That could only mean he was enjoying a slice of chocolate pie before arriving at the competition venue. Harry needs to enter a new realm of the game, and for that, he needs to go through what looks like an airport. He didn't have any luggage with him, but he still needed to go through a security check. He went through the scanner, but he beeped every time he passed through it. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out what was making him beep so much? It was the necklace chain dangling from the pocket of his jacket. Good eye if you spotted that. Passing through the different realms, Harry spotted a nice bakery, then decided to stop for some more nourishment. There were 3 options to choose from: a cupcake, a chocolate croissant, and a gingerbread cookie. Can you guess which one he picked? You don't need to be a genius to see that Harry is using gingerbread cookie socks. He loves them so much, which is why that's his usual pick. Harry arrived at the gate of the new realm, and there were 2 creatures guarding it, a lion and a unicorn. There was a little sign saying that the lion lied on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and that the unicorn lied on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Harry asked to get inside, and the lion said he needed to answer one of the riddles. He told Harry that he lied yesterday, and the unicorn said he also lied yesterday. Can you help Harry figure out which day of the week was yesterday? Well, let's see how this works. From what the magical creatures said, they were both lying on the same day. So the only possible answer to this riddle is Saturday. If we consider yesterday was Saturday, that means the lion was telling the truth and the unicorn was lying. Finally, Harry completed all of his tasks and was allowed to go back home. Which of the 3 doors should Harry choose to get back home? Well, let's see. He should choose the door in the middle. It has a house emoji on it, which will probably take Harry directly back to the comfort of his home. Psst, you. Yeah, you. I really need your detective help with these riddles. Maria came to a beauty salon. She had 2 appointments, a manicure and a haircut. Suddenly, she realized that one of the professionals working there was dangerous. Who was it? The hairdresser with huge stained scissors and brushes in the pocket of her apron? Or the nail tech with a nail file and suspicious red stains on her uniform? Look at the manicurist more attentively. In her bag, you'll notice a knife, a rope, and a tape. She's definitely dangerous. Look at these people waiting for their flight at the airport. Can you figure out which of them is a dog owner? It's the man on the left, sitting on a bench and reading a book. Have you been attentive enough to notice he's got a bone in his bag? It must be a gift for his pooch. Now look at these guys. One of them is a zombie. Can you figure out which one it is? When you think about it, you'll understand that zombies are into brains, not computers. Plus, the guy on the right has a weirdly shaped palm, and he's looking at the other guy's head too intently. The gamer should watch out. Now, this might look like a lovely family portrait, but not all people depicted here are actually human. Can you figure out which family member is a ghost? Pay attention to the shadows. The man is the only person in this photo to have one. Sadly, the rest of his family are just ghosts. You've got to choose one room in which you'll have to spend 1 hour. One of the rooms is swarming with thousands of rats. Another is almost completely filled with water. And the last room is an infinite pool with jellyfish. Which room should you pick? The second room is the safest option. If you manage to stay close to the surface, you'll be able to breathe since there's a bit of space between the ceiling and the water.
Oh, yes.
Look at these hybrid animals. You're about to fight one of them. Think twice before picking your opponent. The wrong choice may cost you your life. Opt for the hybrid of a shark and a jaguar. Such a bizarre creature won't be able to breathe on dry land, and you'll just need to wait a bit before the jury announces your victory. So you've just moved to a new town. It's so small that there are just 2 barber shops there. The barber working in the first one has an impeccable haircut. The hair of the barber in the second establishment looks quite messy, and still, you choose to go to the second professional. Why? Well, if there are just 2 barbers in the town, it means the second barber gave the first one his perfect haircut. Look at these ladies attentively. All of them seem to be pregnant. But what if I tell you that one of them has just stolen a watermelon? Can you figure out who it is? The first lady has a visible belly button. The second one doesn't hold her belly at the moment, so it must be real. As for the third girl, she's holding her belly tightly, and we can see something green through her clothes. She must be the watermelon thief. Now let's check your logistical thinking and math skills. You have 3 empty cups and 10 sugar cubes. You need to distribute these sugar cubes between the cups in such a way that each cup contains an odd number of cubes. All you need to do is put 3 cubes in the first cup and 3 cubes in the second cup. After that, place the remaining 4 cubes and the second cup in cup number 3. This way, the first cup will have 3 sugar cubes, which is an odd number. The second cup will have 3 sugar cubes too. As for cup number 3, it will contain 7 sugar cubes, 4 of its own and 3 from the second cup. You have a box with multicolored marbles. All but 2 of them are red, all but 2 are blue, and all but 2 are green. How many marbles are there in the box? There are just 3 marbles in the box, blue, green, and red. A young lady has the same number of brothers and sisters, but each of her brothers has twice fewer brothers and sisters. How many sisters and brothers are there in the family? There are 4 girls and 3 boys in the family. Once, a man decided to go on a fishing trip with his friends. He asked his wife to pack some things for him: a fishing rod, a fishing box, some clothes that would be enough for a week, and his favorite pajamas. The wife did so. After the man returned, he entertained his wife with funny stories about what had happened during the trip. Suddenly, he asked why his wife hadn't packed his pajamas. The wife immediately understood that her husband was lying to her. He hadn't been on a fishing trip. How did she understand that? The woman put the pajamas in the fishing box. And if her husband didn't find it, it means he didn't open the fishing box. What a weird fishing trip that was. Jack is participating in a challenge. He's made it to the last stage, which takes place in a desert. If he succeeds now, he'll win $1 million. Jack needs to get a key out of one of 4 pots. On top of the first pot, there's a bowl filled with a strong acid. The second pot is covered with a bowl full of venomous spiders. In the bowl placed on the third pot, Jack sees a raging fire. A viper is curled up in the bowl covering the fourth pot. Now Jack isn't allowed to drop the bowls to the ground or turn them over. Which pot should he choose? The guy should choose the third bowl. He can put out the fire with sand and get the key. Camilla was afraid of dogs. One day, while jogging in the park, she noticed a large dog sitting near the bench. It looked unfriendly. The leash attached to the dog's collar was 3 feet long. Camilla decided it would be safe to pass by if there were at least 7 feet of space between her and the animal. But even on a leash, the dog still managed to bite her. How come? Well, the leash wasn't tied to anything.
Oh.
Kevin, a security guard in an amusement park, found a boy standing near a roller coaster. The kid said his name was Nick. He didn't know where his father was. Kevin took Nick to his office and made an announcement. Soon after that, 2 men showed up at the door. The first exclaimed that he and his son had been in a cafe. But after eating his burger, the man felt so unwell he had to spend almost 20 minutes in the bathroom. When he got out, his son wasn't around. The other man interrupted him, saying that he had ridden a roller coaster with his son. Then he left the boy to wait there and went to get some hot dogs. Which man was Nick's father? Nick is too young to ride that roller coaster. Look at that sign stating that only those older than 14 are allowed to have a ride. It means the second man is lying. The boy's dad is the unlucky guy with food poisoning. A bank manager was missing. The only suspicious thing the police found was a note left on his office desk. There were 4 numbers on it. His colleagues, John, James, and Otto, claimed they had nothing to do with this disappearance. But the police thought otherwise. Who did they suspect? When you write the word 1, it starts with the letter O. 2 starts with T, and so does 3. Then we have 1 again. That's the letter O. Together, we have the name Otto. And finally, a funny riddle might help you relax. Why should you never trust gravity? Because gravity will always let you down. Have a good one! It was Emmanuel's dream to become the greatest detective in the world. But to do that, he needed to get accepted to the International Detective Academy. On their entrance exam, they wanted to test the visual perception skills of the potential students. So they gave students 3 images and asked them to find out what was wrong with them. The one who spotted the abnormality the fastest would get in. Here's the first image. Can you help Emmanuel out? The clock on the wall says it's 12 p.m., but the window view suggests it's sunset time. That doesn't add up, even if it's noon or midnight. Here's the second image. What's wrong here? The lady sitting at this table appears to be reading a book, but she's holding it upside down. And the last image. Spot the weird thing real quick. The picture on the wall is supposed to be a historical portrait. but the queen on it is holding a cell phone in her right hand. The county detective agency got a call from the sheriff's office. A criminal who had been in prison for a few months had escaped the jail. They were able to chase her until she blended in with the crowd at the venue where the annual Iron Lady competition was taking place. The president of the agency wanted to test the new recruit, Michelle, so he sent her to find the criminal without giving any information about what she looked like. Once Michelle arrived at the venue, two suspicious-looking ladies competing on the weightlifting stage caught her eye. Can you help Michelle identify which one is the criminal? It must be the lady on the right with the long hair and dark brown roots. Since she was in prison for a few months, she wouldn't be able to dye her hair there. Arya, a brave knight, was seeking the enchanted sword to save her kingdom from a cyclops. However, it was guarded by an ancient dragon who loved to play games. When Arya finally made it to the top of the Misty Mountains where the sword was, the dragon greeted her and said, "Only the one who answers my riddle is worthy of wielding the sword. Tell me, what is it that given one, you either have two or none?" The answer is a choice. Van Pulsing was a famous monster hunter. One day, he got a call from a couple who were the owners of an old mansion. They claimed that there were monsters occupying their home, hiding in plain sight and making them live in fear. They wanted Van Pulsing to free their house from them. He said they should continue their usual day, and he would observe where the monsters could be. Take a look at the bedroom. Can you spot the monster? Here, this is not a human hand. Where could the monster be hiding in this portrait room? Do you see Van Pulsing's shadow on the ground? It looks totally different from him. That must be some other shadow monster. Where's the monster in this reading room? Look at these candles here. The flames are eye-shaped. That must be a fire monster. The main ice sculpture at the Winter Festival was mysteriously melted hours before the grand opening. Angelica, the event planner, got suspicious of three participants: Derek, who was setting up food stalls, Olivia, in charge of decorations, and Sam, who was nowhere to be found earlier. Can you help her figure out who sabotaged the sculpture? See the small temperature arranging box directly below the sculpture area? It is password protected. And look at Olivia's palm. There are numbers written on it, which appear to be some sort of a password. It must be her who tampered with the system to melt the sculpture. Jared and Rita were going camping in the woods and had to choose a site to set up their tent. There were three differing camping areas available: Emerald Forest Camping, Firefly Mountain Campgrounds, and Starlight Lake Campsite. Can you help them decide which spot is the best? Look at this tree in Emerald Forest Camping. There's a bear hiding there. This option is definitely a dangerous one. Firefly Mountain Campgrounds is located next to a rocky hill. These loose stones and sharp rock edges pose a great risk. So they should pick the Starlight Lake campsite. A famous sculpture went missing from the art school gallery. Detective Joshua was informed that there were 3 students who were last seen near the gallery. Alexandra claimed that she was sketching in her notebook. Beckett said he was in a pottery class, and Caleb said he was reading in the library. Detective Joshua could immediately tell who had the missing statue. Can you? Check out Alexandra's sketchbook. Among her sketches, there's a detailed drawing of the missing sculpture, suggesting she took it to study and draw from it. The Museum of Art was doing a special exhibition of a very famous modern painting. There was a rumor that on the day of the gala, the artist who painted it was also going to be there. However, no one knew what they looked like because they were keeping their face a mystery to the public, and only the curators knew what they looked like. James was an art student and was a big fan of this painting. He had an invitation to the gala and was determined to meet the artist. Take a look at these 3 guests. Who do you think might be the artist of the painting behind them? We already know the name of the artist from their signature on the painting. It's Ali. Now, even though the second guy here is holding an exhibition brochure with the same signature, look at the tag he has on his jacket. It says he's the curator, so he already knows what the artist looked like, and he's just another fan. Now, check out the third lady. She's holding a red-colored pen, just like the color of the signature on the brochure. She must be the one who signed it, so she's the mysterious artist. It was snowing a lot that winter. Penny, the police officer, was on duty at the Commonwealth neighborhood. During one of her regular patrols, she noticed a suspicious-looking man who was carrying 2 bags full of stuff. When she asked him what he had in them, he said they were clothes for donation. Still, Officer Penny arrested him. Why? Look at the footprints on the snow. He left the house through the window after robbing it. If he lived there, he would rather use the door. Ellie went to the beach on a hot summer day. As she was placing her towel and umbrella on the sand, she noticed someone had dropped their diamond ring. She went to the beach guard and asked him to announce if anybody was missing their ring. After the announcement, 3 people, Jennifer, Shelley, and Marie, came and said the ring belonged to them. Can you help them figure out who is telling the truth? Take a look at Marie's ring finger on her left hand. She has a tan line there. She must have been sunbathing when she dropped her diamond ring. Bernie was working in Los Angeles, and his girlfriend Deborah was working in Austin, Texas. She was living alone in a studio apartment. They loved each other very much and talked all the time. They were keeping their long-distance relationship alive by exchanging photos every day. But one day, after Bernie received 3 photos from Deborah, he immediately called her and said everything was over between them. Can you tell why? In the bathroom photo, there are 2 toothbrushes, even though she lives alone. In the living room photo, there is a man's shoe on the floor next to the door. And in the kitchen photo, on the planner on the fridge, Tuesday is circled. And inside the circle, it says, "Date night with James." Deborah is clearly cheating on Bernie.
Mason is moving to a new town. On the way, he makes a stop at the local gas station. He wants to pay for gas and snacks, but his red leather wallet is missing. Mason interrogates 3 people standing nearby. Ashley says that she didn't touch Mason's stuff. Both of her hands were full of sandwiches. Lily says she was taking selfies for her social media. And the cashier, Xavier, said that he didn't notice any red wallets. Mason knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Take a look at Ashley's sandwiches. She hid Mason's wallet between two pieces of bread. Mason exposes the thief and continues on his journey. He gets hungry and goes to a diner. But immediately, Mason feels something off about this place. Something's completely wrong with one of these three waiters. Which one? The lady on the left has wolf teeth, and she doesn't wear any badge on her uniform, so it makes sense to stay away from her. Mason arrives at the town late at night. He parks his car and looks around. Suddenly, Mason notices an unconscious lady on the ground. He calls the police and an ambulance. They arrive very quickly. Meanwhile, the lady comes to her senses, but she finds out that all her money is missing. The police have three suspects, Mason and two other pedestrians, Noah and Mike. Who's the thief? Take a look at the ground. There are two types of footsteps leading to the place where the lady is lying. One of them belongs to her, and the other one was left by Mason. There are two parallel straight lines left by a wheelchair. So the thief must be Mike. The next day, Mason meets his neighbors.
Hello.
It's an elderly couple, Ralph and Glenda. They have just finished building a fancy new house. The house looks beautiful, and they invite their three grandchildren over to have a look at their work. It takes one day for one guy and two girls to break several windows, knock down the fence, remove the decorations, and ruin the roof. But the retired couple doesn't mind. They just smile looking at the teenagers. Can you figure out why? The grandparents made a gingerbread house and invited their grandchildren to enjoy it. Dinner time. Mason enters a local restaurant. Two tables are occupied, but this is not a regular boring restaurant. One of these families belongs to the mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at the second family. The daughter holds a teddy bear that's stuffed with dollars. Mason decides to go to another place instead. He takes a look at these two tables and spots the mafia family right away. What about you? It's the first family. The father has a red laser dot at the level of his heart. A sniper is aiming at him. Mason switches restaurants again. Two tables are occupied by innocent-looking families. Yet again, one of these groups belongs to the mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a look at the second table. The father is hiding a gold bar in his menu.
Oh.
The next morning, Mason goes to check out the local pool. Can you spot an undercover cop among these people? This guy has a suspicious earphone in his ear. Why would he need it while swimming? Mason is terrible at packing. Today, he's going camping in the forest. Can you help him pack his stuff? Take a look at his bag and spot all the useless items. Oh, look! He has an electric hairdryer, but there's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Mason and his friend Bennett go hiking in the local forest. On the way, they meet two ladies, Anna and Alice. They hang out together and both guys fall in love with Anna. They want to take her on a date. So the guys secretly ask Alice which of them Anna likes more. Alice doesn't want to share her bestie's secrets, but she gives the guys a hint. Anna loves pizza, but she can't stand burgers. She likes to go to the pool, but she never goes to the gym. Her favorite animal is the llama, but she's afraid of zebras. Which one of these guys does Anna like? Alice wanted to give the guys a clue, so we have to look for some patterns in her words. All the things Anna likes have double letters. Bennett has 2 double letters in his name, so he must be Anna's crush. The guys keep on hiking. Suddenly, they see a beautiful large apple tree growing on a cliff. If a powerful wind blows towards the land, where will the apples fall? In any case, they'll fall down. Alice needs to leave for the city, but Mason, Bennett, and Anna decide to spend the night in the wild. The next day, they wake up in a terrible trap. They're hanging upside down in the air with their legs tied. There's a bunch of venomous snakes on the ground under Mason. There's fire and hot coals under Anna, and dangerous scorpions are crawling under Bennett. How can the guys survive? Can you see that black cloud with lightning? It's gonna start raining soon. The rainwater will put out the fire under Anna. This lady has a knife, so she can cut the rope and then help the others.
Yes!
The guys escape, but they get lost in the forest. It gets dark. They're wandering around and come across a creepy cabin. It belongs to a witch. She says the guys must solve a riddle if they want to escape from her land. The witch writes a number. There are 2 special things about it. What are they? First, this number contains all existing digits. Second, they're put in alphabetical order.
Oh.
Mason and his friends return to the town. Meanwhile, someone robbed the local museum and stole the most valuable painting.
Oh no.
A detective investigates the crime scene and finds the thief right away. However, when asked to give it back, the criminal provides the police with 3 copies of the same painting. He refuses to tell which one is original. Can you find the real masterpiece? Each painting has a different frame, but only one of them is perfectly similar to the other frames hanging in the museum. And since this museum uses the same style of frames, this painting should be the original. Mason gets a new job in a small company. Only 4 people work with him. One day, Mason comes to the office and he doesn't find his favorite slippers. Mason always puts them on while working. He searches everywhere and finally spots them on the roof of the building. Mason is furious. He questions his coworkers. Bill says, "I don't even know where you keep your slippers." Phil says, "I'm terrified of heights. I've never climbed up there." Mara says, "I'm wearing high heels today. I can hardly walk in them." And Ella says, "I respect you too much to prank you, sir." One of them is lying. Who? It's Phil. He said he was afraid of heights, but take a look at the photo on his table. He's skydiving with a parachute. Liar. After work, Mason returns to his condo. He enters the elevator with 3 people. One of them is a police officer working undercover. Can you guess who? Take a look at this old lady's outfit. She has a tiny hidden video camera in her hat. Mason enters his apartment. Oh no! Someone broke the lock and stole his precious golden cup. Mason calls the police and they question 3 neighbors. George was painting his living room all day. He listened to loud music so he couldn't hear anything. Bella was walking with her boyfriend all day long. They've just returned home. And Aaron was sick, so he only went out once that day to take out his trash. He heard weird noises from Mason's apartment. Who's lying? George. His living room doesn't look freshly painted.